Let's go and crack down now example number 3. And once again, we're going to do the, we're going to use the quadratic formula to find the answers here. Okay, and let's see what we got here. So notice the format that is written in. Okay, the only time that we use the quadratic formula is when it's written in standard form. So this is not even close to being in standard form. This is what we call factored form. It's in factors, right? So we need to actually multiply this all together, move the -8 over, and then hopefully it's going to look like this. So let's do a little bit of legwork there. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do our FOIL method. All right, gangster FOIL right there. All right, so 9x times x is a 9x squared. 9x times -1 is a -9. 3 times x is, oops, this should be 9x. 3 times x is a positive 3x. And 3 times -1 is a -3. Okay, using FOIL. First, outside, inside, last. All right, and we can combine these guys together. We get 9x squared minus 6x minus 3. And that all equals -8s. Okay, so we have our x squared term, our bx, and our c term, but it's not equal to 0. We need this to be equal to 0, so we need to put this -8 over here. So I'm going to add 8 to both sides. And we get 9x squared minus 6x plus 5 equals 0. Ax squared plus bx plus c. 9x squared minus 6x plus 5 equals 0. Now this is in standard form, just like this is right here. Okay, so we didn't even start the problem yet. In this problem specifically, we had to have multiplied our dot using FOIL, move the constant term to the left-hand side, and put it in standard form, that's what we have. Okay, so let's go ahead and label our A, B, and C. So we have our A, we have our B, and our C term. So A is 9, B is 6, and C is 5. All right. So let's go ahead and rewrite the quadratic formula using our parentheses. So x equals -b plus or minus the square roots of b squared minus 4 times a times c. And that's all over 2 times And now we're ready to plug them in. Plug it in, plug it in. You guys know that commercial? Don't try to creep right there. You guys know that commercial. So let's see, this is my b term, so that's -6. My b term again, -6. 4 times a, so 9. My c term, 5. And a, 9. Alrighty, well here we go. Let's go ahead and simplify this dude. I'm gonna come over here. So x equals a negative multiplied by a negative is a positive 6, so 6 plus or minus. -6 squared means -6 times -6, so that's a 36. Okay, let's not worry about the signs there. Let's just do 4 and 9. What's that? 36 times 5 is 180. So we're going to get a 180. Now the question is it plus or minus right here? Well, let's see. A negative times a positive is a negative. And then if this is all negative, a negative times a positive is negative. Okay? And that's all over 18. All over 18. All right, let's go and simplify this some more. So that's 6 plus or minus the square root. So 36 minus 180. Okay, so we know we're going to subtract and keep the sign of the bigger number. So it's going to be a negative number. That's a negative 144. All over 18. Trickery there. Next, x equals 6 plus or minus. Well, since it's a negative, I know it's going to be I. Okay, and then square root of 144 is 12. 12 squared is 144. Oh, so in this case, since it wasn't a radical, we could probably say 12i then. It's when we have a radical, we want to put the I in front. So let's go ahead and try that again there. So we'll do a 12i all over 18. Okay, so all right, another video was playing on my computer when I was looking up the Pop Goes the Weasel song, and I guess it just started playing. So all right, So here we go. We have 6 plus or minus 12i all over 18. Okay, so we don't want to leave it like that. Just like we did in the last example, if the numerator has a common factor, then we want to factor that out. And they each have a 6 in common, so I'm going to factor out the 6. So if I factor out the 6 using the greatest common factor method, so 6 times what is 6? Well, 1 plus or minus. 6 times what is 12i? Well, just 2i, and that's all over 18. Notice now what number can divide into 6 and 18? Well, 6, right? I could divide the top by 6, and I could divide the bottom by 6. So x equals now, that's 1 right there, right? That's just a 1. So, you know, if you have a 1 times something, it's just itself. So I'm just going to ignore that. 1 plus or minus 2i all over 3. 6 divided by 6 is 1. But we could just ignore the 1 because 1 times this is itself. And 18 divided by 6 is 3. And you can also write that as 2 separate answers, right? As 1 plus 2i over 3 and 1 minus 2i over 3. Again, these are the same thing, but if you need to write them as 2 separate answers, this is how you do that. Or you can write it as one statement, but it represents both answers.